So
Yeah, I would love to dive deeper into that with you about, because I know you and I have talked a lot about kind of what I call whole health is the mind, the body, and the soul, and these different aspects that I think are maybe not always what comes to mind when people think about health. The mind tends to go to, physical fitness and maybe nutrition, but not as much of the mindset aspects or the healing parts of it. So, kind of how did you start to come to that for yourself and integrating that into what you do?
that's a great question. So it's really interesting, my journey as an athlete. I was never an athlete that got things easily. Like I always had to work hard for them. And I kind of became mental because of that. Like I would see a lot of other people just get it and then they just go. And then my body would be like, I don't get it. I don't know what's going on. And so then there was a disconnect. And my biggest struggle came in high school. I had been set to sign my scholarship on Saturday, and I had already been dealing with a fear on balance beam. So balance beam is like this 4-inch piece of wood, 5 feet in the air, and you flip backwards on it. And I had an issue with where you flip backwards, put your hands down, you flip in the air, don't touch the beam, and they land on your feet, called a flick lay. And it was I had already been on and off with it scary for a couple years, pretty much from the time I learned it. And then I got injured the day before I was to sign my scholarship. That injury led to 9 months out of the sport. It was a major break in my arm. It was 2 surgeries, like major stuff happening. And I lost the scholarship. So they said, I got the long letter. It's like, you're welcome to walk on. So I was out for 9 months. I was out of shape. No one knew what to do with me. And guess what grew? My fear, right? And so here I was showing up as a freshman, which we already know is challenging on the mind, right? Like all of a sudden I've left my home. I'm in a new place. I'm rooming with someone. I was the only child. So now I'm rooming with someone in the same room, same space. Her bed is 2-3 feet from my bed. And um, and I'm on this team where I'm coming back and everyone else has already got places, right? Like, and they're already came in with all their stuff. And here I was 9 months out. And so I spent that year trying to get back, both physically and mentally. And my fear had just grown. It was really bad. And so we won national championship that year, and I pulled mats for it, and it just set me on fire. I was like, I am not pulling mats again. I'm going to get a scholarship, and I was like 7 years old when I set that goal. And I had literally made so many sacrifices between 7 and 18 to be at the college and doing gymnastics. And so I went home that summer and I just worked my butt off and came back with more skills on all these events I had never had. I trained at a different gym. I had to drive further for that. And and my series, I got more consistent at throwing it, but I still wasn't going all the time. I still had this fear. So I showed up, but I had a 10-0, like perfect 10 is like the best score you can get in gymnastics in the United States. Now they've changed it internationally, but so I had a 10-5 start on balance beam, like, which is massive. I had extra bonus. I was like trying to make up everywhere I could. And I got cut. So being in the best physical shape I could be, I got cut because my mental wasn't there. I wasn't 100%. And so I was welcome to practice that year. So I did. I got more on fire. And in that process, I went inward and I really learned about who I was. And like this fear made me look at like, who am I? What do I want? And how bad do I want it? And like, what's really driving all this? And so I learned some breathing techniques and I began learning some meditation. And in that process, I really started to get closer and closer to alignment with myself. I came back that next year, my sophomore year, and I earned my junior year, and I earned a scholarship, and I started on balance beam.
Oh, wow.
Like because I was really good at it. That's what frustrated everybody to death. I was really good at it. I just wouldn't go all the time because of this fear. It would just stop me dead in my tracks. And so I ended up competing beam and vault that year. And we came up short that year. We got second by 0.125, which is basically like a toe point.
Oh.
And that was rough. But then I came back my senior year, and at home, we won our national championship. And I was super consistent. At that point, I got to where I could take 3 breaths, and it was just me and the balance beam. It didn't matter how many thousands of people were around. It was just hyper, like, this is it. And I learned so many tools there that I didn't realize were going to grow and prosper as I like grew into a career and began working with athletes. And that opened a door for me that just, it's amplified now. I've done this with thousands of athletes across the globe to help them achieve their goals. And it is this idea of finding your mind, body, spirit, soul, inner alignment, inner being, inner purpose, right? Like once you're in alignment with that, then your whole world around you starts to become in alignment with that. And all this sudden, really hard things, like big things, become quite easy to people use the word manifest, but for them to create and manifest in their life.